Well, it's been a busy day here now that retailers on the Rock have opened once again. Speaking to some of the workers crossing back into Spain earlier, definitely a sense of eagerness to get back to work, but yes, with some reservations. I spoke to one worker who was particularly anxious about going back to work as her best friend's mother had just passed away of COVID-19 just a few days ago, 52 years old and no underlying health condition. So she was very shaken up and worried for her safety. She said that people on the Rock, in comparison, seemed very calm. But nonetheless, it's been a busy day all round. So here to help us make sense of it all is Head of Immigration for Borders and Coastguard Agency, Joe Molinari. Joe, busier than usual. Give us a sense of the numbers and what it's been like in comparison to last week and perhaps even last year.
Yeah, well, this morning, between the hours of 6 and 9, we had an increase. We've had 2,206 vehicles with 3,117 persons in total entering. When compared with last Monday, this sees an increase of around 25%. In actual numbers, that would be 443 vehicles more and 605 more persons during that period. As a comparison, last year, that would have been, we would have expected 7,000 vehicles entering during those hours and around 24,000 people. Mind you, that's for that period, not for the full day.
So busy, but certainly nowhere near as busy as it used to be. You're asking for documentation. So what kind of documentation are you asking for exactly? And have you had to turn many away for not having this to hand?
Yes, we've been asking for terms of engagement from the employment. We've also asked some persons are self-employed for a registration of self-employed. Detached workers as well. Those are the persons that come into Gibraltar to carry out a work for another contractor in Gibraltar. May I also just add that any person, if they need information, they can contact us via phone, via email, or even through the COVID helplines. And they will pass those questions to us. Today we've actually refused entry to 43 persons. Some of them because their intentions were not to enter Gibraltar for which is permitted by the regulations. We've had from persons coming in for petrol, some others for a walk. The Spanish police are actually a filter to us, but some do get to us, and it's been 43 in total.
Okay. And what's the response like when you do turn people away? Are people generally compliant, or do they resist that at all?
That is what we've been found, that most people do turn around. They do understand the position. They thought they could enter for petrol. No, that doesn't comply with the rules if you're not a resident in Gibraltar. But we do provide all the information.
So would you say that there is some confusion, perhaps mixed messages to some people on what they are and aren't allowed to do?
Yes, I think so, because in Spain you may be allowed to go to a petrol station which is near to your house. Okay. If you live just across the border, could be the nearest one, but it's not permitted, really.
Okay. And you've introduced these temperature scanners today. It's your first day using them. My colleague Kevin Rees showed our viewers just how they work. Now we're at the end of the day. Have you had any temperatures that you've had to report, and what are you doing in that instance?
Yes, we're currently we're carrying out trials with them. We just have one just now. It is outside the building because we're testing them in different environments as well. We would be using them in vehicles as well. Just bear in mind as well that there are many different type of scanners in the market. This one does seem to work for us. It might not work somewhere else, but for us it does work.
Okay.
Temperature-wise, we haven't had any reports of anybody with a temperature.
Okay. And we're seeing some cars coming in now, and you say those are also working, changing shifts, etc. Is that correct?
Yes, it could be the hospital changing shifts, the different care workers, persons who work in restaurants as well.
Okay.
We do seem to have a little bit of an increase now, around this time.
Well, Joe Molinari, Head of Immigration at the Borders and Coastguard Agency. The Rock does seem to have escaped the virus for now. We've heard reports from the Chief Minister that unlocking the lockdown might even come early if that continues. If we do follow that path, certainly busier days to come down here at the border.